Well, let's take a check on the two lineups for you, starting with Colombia. Radamel Falcao, past fit to start following an ankle injury, and has begun to strike up an excellent partnership with Teo Gutierrez, who used to play his football in this stadium with the junior club of Barranquilla, but now operates out of Argentina with River Plate. Without question, the best generation of Colombia players since they last qualified for the World Cup in 1998. Ecuador haven't won yet away from their base in Quito during this qualifying campaign. 5 trips have yielded just 2 points. They're without Felipe Caicedo, 5 goals in qualification. He's not in the squad at all. Enner Valencia wins just his 3rd cap and has yet to score for his country. Manchester United's Antonio Valencia and Segundo Castillo provide the experience in midfield. And from Ecuador's perspective, it's vital that that pair figure prominently. Plenty of quality on the 2 respective substitutes benches. A look out for number 10, or number 15 rather, Juan Quintero, who's just moved to Porto in Portugal. He is a world star in the making. Well, can these Ecuador players honour his memory and qualify for Brazil 2014? Well, both are in an excellent position. As I said earlier, if we have a winner here today, they can all but get ready for the flight to Brazil next summer. So, Brazilian referee in Heber Lopez. Passion always at fever pitch here in Barranquilla. They much prefer to play their home international games in this stadium rather than in the capital, Bogota. And that passion just ratcheted up another few notches given the 90-minute or so delay to the scheduled kick-off time. But nothing, at least in the eyes of the Colombia fans, not even the elements, can stop a seemingly inexorable push towards their first World Cup finals in 15 years, 16 by the time we get to next summer. Steady-ish rain. And how will the pitch stand up to the tremendous amount of water that it's taken? There won't be much bounce in the ball, that's for sure. Be interesting to see how the few passes played along the surface, how they travel and meet their intended target. Well, this is a daunting task for Ecuador in the blue, facing a Colombia team who've won each of the last 4 qualifiers here in Barranquilla, scoring 13 goals and conceding none. James Rodriguez looking for Gutierrez. The referee has given a free kick to Colombia. Challenge from the Ecuador captain, who's Antonio Valencia today. Looks like it's going to be the right foot of Nelly Torres. Torres it is, and that'll be a corner. Well, this is a Colombia side playing with so much confidence. I've been fortunate to commentate on a lot of their qualifying campaign, and during which they've produced some of the best football seen anywhere around the world. That's how good they can be on their day. It's no exaggeration to say that they are a match for anyone when they put it all together. James Rodriguez, second corner in quick succession. Goalkeeper comes, and slightly awkward, but Banguera did enough. Here's Enner Valencia. Losing out in the end to Rodriguez. Well, so far at least, pitch is playing remarkably well. Certainly expected to see some surface water coming off as the passes are played to feet here, but non-visible to the naked eye, not from my vantage point anyway. Well, whatever drainage system they've got here didn't appear to be working 2 hours ago. Mind you, the rain was monsoon-like. There's a forecast for more to come later in the day. But mercifully for now, whatever rain is falling is relatively light compared to what we did have. Well, it's perfectly playable, isn't it? Ecuador likely to be circumspect here, given Colombia's excellent recent record here. A draw would be a very good result for the Ecuadorians. But they're an attacking side by nature. It's not really their normal style to sit back and invite the opposition on, so interesting to see how the opening minutes pan out and what Rueda has for his game plan. But providing the pitch behaves itself and we don't get any more serious rain, this has all the potential of being one of the best of the World Cup qualifiers in the CONMEBOL region. Just one goal separated them in Quito, scored by the late Chucho Benitez. That's why there's even more feeling about this return fixture. Montero, first test for Zuniga. It's going to be a very interesting contest. He's had a brilliant qualifying campaign. The Colombia right back Zuniga, very good defensively as well as going forward, but this man Jefferson Montero on his day almost unplayable. Here's Noboa. It's a good try from Christian Noboa. Set his sights from long range and that was curling all the time and just had goalkeeper Ospina worried for a second or two. Here's Pereira. Valdez or Sanchez. Zuniga plays his club football in Italy, the number 18 with Napoli. One of two Napoli players in the Colombia starting 11. The other one is the left back, Pablo Armero. Walter Ayovi with the Ecuador throw. Montero, Ayovi. Sloppy work from Pereira. His pocket pick there by Enner Valencia. He's then given it straight to Carlos Sanchez. Now with Valdez. Aguilar. Pereira. Colombia with the best defensive record in the CONMEBOL qualifying campaign. Just 7 goals conceded in their 12 games. And of course, so much quality at the other end in Falcao and Gutierrez and others. Strong work here from Armero. And a free kick given to Colombia. The left foot of James Rodriguez. What a future this boy has got as well. Just 22 years old, plays with Falcao these days in France at Monaco. Sanchez, Armero, Torres, Rodriguez. Free kick here now for Ecuador. Already seen Armero deep in Ecuadorian territory, really attacking left back for Colombia. And things are going well here. He's almost like a left winger. Goalkeeper plays his club football at Barcelona in Ecuador. Abel Aguilar. Nice work from Gutierrez. Rodriguez. Gutierrez ran into a strong challenge from Frickson Erazo. Here's Montero. Edged out of it illegally by Zuniga. Starting today, Ecuador have got 3 of the last 4 qualifiers away from home. Talked about their problems on the road, with 2 draws and 3 defeats. Their next game is on Tuesday in Bolivia. Free kick against Armero. Colombia incidentally go to Uruguay next Tuesday. Another crucial game for Colombia. But the team in yellow have a chance of drawing level at the top of the standings with Argentina with a win. And they will both have played 13 games, of 16 in total. Torres. Referee halting play. Problem for Enner Valencia. And he'll have to hope that injury doesn't force him out earlier, because he's a rookie in this Ecuador side, just his 3rd senior cap. Effectively getting the start because of the absence of Felipe Caicedo. Caicedo succumbing to injury. Jose Peckerman is the head coach of Colombia, experienced Argentine, and there's Rueda, who lost his father within 4 days of the death of one of his star strikers, Chucho Benitez. It was naturally a very low time in the life of the Ecuador coach. He admitted to finding things very difficult to deal with, the grief on both counts, and had problems sleeping, the 56-year-old Colombian. Here's McNally Torres. Sanchez. Armero. Valdez for Aguilar. James Rodriguez just trying to buy himself around the challenge of Castillo, led in by Armero. Here's Torres. offside anyway. Falcao wasn't moving on to the pass. Seven goals in qualifying for Falcao. Rodriguez. Zuniga, fouled by Montero. And it is an interesting duel in both halves of the field already. James Rodriguez. The referee wasn't ready for the quick tap free kick, much to Colombia's frustration. Just shaping up for a shot there, wasn't he, James Rodriguez? It's a corner off the head of Castillo. Rodriguez to take. Goalkeeper again looked rather awkward with his punch clear. Don't think we've seen the last of the corner kicks thrown in towards the goalkeeper Maximo Banguera. Carlos Sanchez. Aguilar. Pereira. Valdez. Almero. Carlos Valdez again. Only starter for Colombia, who plays his club football in this country. He's with Santa Fe. Castillo. Well, Colombia have had the better of the opening quarter of an hour or so, without creating a chance. Players have the unusual experience, almost unique, of not being able to warm up for this World Cup qualifier. And that was just a second or two there where you thought the ball just might hold. And it found its way through to Ospina. Only the goalkeepers from both countries went through their warm-up routines, and even those were slightly truncated. And none of the outfield players came out. Obviously a risk, given the state of the playing surface and the heavy rain that fell in the hours before kick-off. And no chances were taken. There's Banguera just making sure he had to get to that. Quickly take the throw by Falcao. Hooked in by Almero. Only for Montero. So Walter Iovi. Vastly experienced Ecuadorian left back, taken on here by Montero. Held up by Aguilar. Iovi. Mendes. Novoa. Valencia. Good work by Montero. Fine save by Ospina. Jefferson Montero got plenty behind that shot. And Ospina equal to it. Elastic save by David Ospina. Carlos Valdez is feeling the chest injury, looking to the referee for some sympathy, not getting any. Ouch. Certainly felt the way to the right boot of Castillo. Free kick against Montero. Plays in Mexico these days, Jefferson Montero with the Morelia club. Abel Aguilar. Zuniga. Gutierrez trying to shuffle that into space for Falcao. He was denied that by Erazo. Edison Mendes. Paredes. And slip. An inopportune moment there by Antonio Valencia. No sight of goal yet for Falcao. Interesting to know just what the state is of that recent ankle injury, playing on a potentially treacherous surface here. Pitch taking on a lot of water, and any awkward turn on that ankle could be a real blow for Falcao and Colombia, and indeed his club Monaco. Players are wary, can see it and feel it. I'm not quite sure whether suddenly in one little patch of this pitch the ball isn't going to travel. It may just stick and could be costly at one end or the other. This is Gabriel Achille. Loose pass from him. Colombia's next two games against two sides in 4th and 5th currently, Chile and Uruguay. It's Uruguay away first, then they bid home to Chile, and they finish with a trip to Paraguay. As for Ecuador, as I mentioned earlier, it's away to Bolivia on Tuesday, then they're home to Uruguay, and then away to Chile. So many games still to be played between the sides in 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th. So it gives hope to the teams just outside, like Venezuela on 16 points, the same as Uruguay, who are in the playoff place currently in 5th. Peru can't be discounted, 14 points. And you probably can't look any deeper than that. I think Paraguay and Bolivia's opportunities are almost non-existent. Certainly Paraguay's only 8 points from 12 games. They have no chance. Here's Zuniga. Gutierrez. looking to shape that in towards either Falcao or Rodriguez. Carlos Sanchez. Almero for Valdez. Torreira. Torres. Cut out easily by Eraso. It's coming back at Ecuador again though. McNally Torres. Almero. Falcao! Well, that's a big let-off for Ecuador. That's the man Colombia would have wanted on the end of the cross. He's onside and plants it straight at a grateful Banguera. Well, 99 times out of 100, that would have been buried in the back of the net by Falcao. Aguilar. Luis Pereira. Carlos Valdez. Nice work between Rodriguez and Gutierrez. Here's Almero. Antonio Valencia. He's a huge favourite here in Barranquilla. Gutierrez used to play for the junior club in this city. See the rain coming down a little heavier again. Not altogether sure that this pitch could take too much more heavy rain. Aguilar. Mendez looking and finding Enner Valencia, almost. Another Ecuador throw. Ecuadorians seeking to qualify for their third World Cup. Noboa brushes away off the head of, well, surely Carlos Sanchez got the last touch to this. He definitely did. Colombia number 6. Mendez will get across to take the corner. Castillo climbing aggressively but finding his header blocked. Nice layoff from Gutierrez. Montero. Torres. A little hasty with his pass. Oh, mistake, that's in Gutierrez. Oh, and that could well be a red card, you know. He's a long way from goal, but he's heading towards the goalkeeper. Now, what action does the referee take here? Looks like it's only going to be a yellow. No, it's red. It is red. And Gabriel Akilié is sent off. There's no question that Teo Gutierrez was running free on goal here. Cynically dragged to the ground by Akilié. And that is a severe blow to Ecuador's hopes here in Barranquilla. They must now play almost 3/4 of the game with a player light. Off goes their central defender. James Rodriguez for the free kick. Well, it's a fairly comfortable save for Banguera. He made sure he didn't try to hold on to the greasy ball and seize the corner. Quickly taken to Zuniga. Goalkeeper not tested this time. Effort from Camilo Zuniga. Goalkeeper was always getting there. On by Falcao. Gutierrez, Falcao. Decent try. Rodriguez, yes! James Rodriguez for Colombia. And how quick did he pounce on the loose ball? And the richly gifted 22-year-old James Rodriguez delivers for Peckerman and Colombia. And 10-man Ecuador, within a couple of minutes of losing centre-back Akilié to a straight red card, now found themselves a goal down. Banguera makes the save from Falcao, but pouncing James Rodriguez, just quicker than Paredes to the loose ball. And found the far corner unerringly. Colombia 1. Ecuador 0 in Barranquilla. A third senior international goal for James Rodriguez. It might get worse. Here's Zuniga. Falcao. Aguilar. It's certainly worth a try, these shots from range, particularly along the ground where the ball could skid awkwardly for the goalkeepers at either end. Banguera just having a word with his defence to close down a little more. Going to be more difficult now, of course, a man light. Erazo. It's Castillo who's dropped in to play alongside Erazo in defence from his preferred midfield role. Sanchez, Almero, Torres. Rodriguez. Romero well advanced again. Castillo tidies up neatly for Ecuador. Noboa looking for the pacey Montero. Looks to take on Zuniga. It's Jefferson Montero. Took two to crowd him out. Noboa. Antonio Valencia. Noboa. Montero. Again, eager to take on the Colombia defence. Once more, there's too many yellow shirts there for Jefferson Montero. Paredes. It's a foul by Rodriguez. Edison Mendez with the Ecuador free kick. Falcao pushing Colombia out, some of them defending too deep. Torrea with a back header, which was unintentional. And away comes Romero. This is the left back, going on the right wing. Lovely ball into the path here of Gutierrez. Fanciful back heel, this will take out a yellow shirt. Now Christian Noboa for Ecuador. Enner Valencia. Iovi. Antonio Valencia. Torres, Falcao. He's gone down too easily there. He felt he was always going to look to try and make contact with a clutch of defenders around him there, Radamel Falcao. Gutierrez for Armero. Teo Gutierrez again. He's the goal scorer. Rodriguez. Torres. Colombia just trying to tease Ecuador out of a defensive shell here. It's been a feature of the qualifying campaign for Colombia. The options for the player in possession, their movement off the ball is an extremely high standard. Very well coached by Peckerman. And should Colombia get to the World Cup, and I'm almost certain that they will, they could ruffle quite a few feathers in Brazil. Well, if you think James Rodriguez is a star in the making, and he's already pretty much a star already at 22, wait till you see Juan Quintero. I had the pleasure of seeing him in the Under-20 World Cup this summer in Turkey for Colombia, and he's just joined Rodriguez's former club Porto in the close season, and he is a tremendous talent. 20 years old, Quintero. Hope we get to see him at some stage tonight, but the way his career is progressing already, I don't think it's fanciful to suggest that he's going to be one of the top players in the world in 3 or 4 years' time. He's that good. Iovi with a free kick meanwhile for Ecuador. Erazo. Montero. Neatly done by Gutierrez. Aguilar. Falcao. Just turning into a tall, lean defender, Frickson Erazo. Foul on Mendes. It's by some distance the most experienced international out there. 107th cap for 34-year-old Edison Mendes, as the rain comes down quite heavy now in Barranquilla. Noboa. Paredes. Loses out to Valdez. Antonio Valencia's done well. This is Enner Valencia. Comfortable take in the end for Ospina. Gutierrez. Noboa. Iovi. Closest Ecuador have been so far, a long-range shot from Noboa, which travelled not too far wide of Ospina's goal. That's been about it so far from the away team, and no danger there from Montero's cross. Sanchez. Almero. Rodriguez. McNally Torres. Gutierrez. Falcao. Looks for Gutierrez again, despite the goalkeeper coming. It's Castillo who produced the calm defending. Mendes caught by Gutierrez. Given the circumstances, I don't think Ecuador will be too displeased at going in only a goal down, if that's the way it turns out, given that they've lost their centre-back, Gabriel Achille, during this first half to a straight red card. Zuniga. Everything to his left, really, including Pablo Almero. Rodriguez. Falcao beaten in the air crucially. Montero. Free kick against Luis Pereira, who, despite the fact that he's 34 years old, is still one of the quickest players around. Remember him when he was playing in Spain with Atletico Madrid. Just about one of the quickest players in the Spanish league at the time. He's married to a former Colombian Olympic sprinter, Luis Pereira. This is Paredes. It's corner. Mendes will get across to take it. Ward here. That wasn't in the script for Edison Mendes. And no hiding place. Look again at the goal of James Rodriguez. How quickly he reacted to Falcao's shot coming off the gloves here of Banguera. Acted quicker than number 4 Paredes, and it was a vital opening goal for Colombia from James Rodriguez. Just 1 minute of stoppage time to be played in Barranquilla. Torres. Plenty of spaces in midfield now for Colombia, now that Castillo, one of the holding midfield players for Ecuador, has had to drop into defence for the red-carded Achille. So we're going to see plenty of the ball, the likes of Carlos Sanchez, Abel Aguilar and McNally Torres in the heart of the Colombian midfield. This is Gutierrez. Falcao. Couldn't take any risks and allow Falcao to turn there, the goalkeeper, Maximo Banguera. Have Colombia got time to take the corner? No, they haven't. We're at half-time in this CONMEBOL World Cup qualifying game in Barranquilla. Colombia leading it by 1-0, scored by James Rodriguez. Miraculous that we've got a game on at all, given the torrential monsoon-like rain that fell for 2 or 3 hours prior to kick-off. Surprisingly, the pitch has played very well, but the rain continues to fall. Ecuador down to 10 men. Achille sent off in the first period. Half-time, it's Colombia 1, Ecuador 0.
The 2014 FIFA World Cup qualifiers continue this Wednesday with the South American campaign live. Uruguay versus Colombia, Venezuela versus Peru, and Paraguay versus Argentina. The 2014 FIFA World Cup qualifiers this Wednesday on Setanta.
we go then. Mercifully, that's the last of the delays. Torres. Cuadrado with the Ecuador throw. Antonio Valencia for Castillo, now in his more customary central midfield role. Antonio Valencia again. Harried all the time by Sanchez. It's good work by Colombia to force Ecuador back inside their own half. Throw this time for the home team. We'll just be looking at the man advantage clearly for the insurance of a second goal, and surely that would be enough. Sanchez. Ecuador forced to lose one of their strikers, Edison Mendes, to bring Guaga on to augment their defence. Here's Armero. Armero showing great strength and hunger. Sanchez. Torres. Zuniga. Nimble feet of Cuadrado, earning Colombia a free kick. Good position here now for the left foot of James Rodriguez. Rodriguez, well defended by Ecuador, not only as far as Armero. Cuadrado. Armero, plenty of yellow shorts forward here for Colombia. Teo Gutierrez, plenty behind the shot, but not the accuracy required. Paredes. It's a long time since Ecuador have won on Colombian soil. It was here in Barranquilla as long ago as 1965. Antonio Valencia. Paredes. Closely watched and eventually robbed by Armero. Castillo chests that neatly into the path of Noboa. Now Jefferson Montero. Montero surrounded by yellow shirts. He's earned a throw. Castillo. Well, he scored 3 times in qualifying. Segundo Castillo plays his club football these days in Saudi Arabia with the Al Hilal club. But most of his goals tend to come from set pieces. Very strong in the air, Castillo. Rodriguez, McNally Torres, elegant midfield player Torres, good range of passing, he's got a free kick. Sanchez, Rodriguez, no great shape to the second half yet. It's not surprising given the conditions that the players have had to put up with here. Torreira needing to step on the gas. Still a very graceful mover at 34, isn't he, Luis Pereira? The goalkeeper completely flattened there by Jefferson Montero. We'll need to get some quick attention here to Ospina. Almost looked as if he was not cold there in the challenge with Montero. He's nodding his head to make sure that he is conscious, but this was a heavy collision. And head injuries, every care will be taken with Ospina now. Just be checking his neck area to make sure that there hasn't been an awkward movement in that area. Peckerman watches on nervously. Do have a very experienced replacement in Farid Mondragon. Might just get an opportunity to come on and add to his caps. There he is, 42 years old now, Mondragon. He's clearly had the wind knocked out of him there, Ospina. The good sign, I suppose, is that they've not called for any oxygen to be administered to the Colombia goalkeeper. But they're certainly not going to risk moving him too quickly, just making all the necessary checks before they eventually decide what they're going to do here with the stricken goalkeeper. Looks as though the message from Carlos Sanchez is thumbs up to Peckerman that Ospina is going to be okay. And whether that's premature, we'll find out soon enough. Well, Peckerman still can't be sure whether Ospina is going to be able to resume here. I would suggest the fact that he's not moved at all in the last 3 or 4 minutes, that now finally he raises his head just to make sure that he's got movement and no pain by doing so. And he's going to get to his feet, I think, gingerly. Mondragon maybe denied an entrance here. All depends how Ospina feels once he's got himself upright, clearly shaken. But he's going to resume. Been a very consistent goalkeeper through this campaign. Only 7 goals have gone in against him. Plays in France with Nice. So yet another delay here in Barranquilla. Hope nobody had plans for going out tonight. Sanchez. Pereira. Valdez. Iobi. Out of play via Walter Iobi. Well, this had all the potential to be one of the best of the CONMEBOL World Cup qualifiers, but I'm afraid events have conspired to rather spoil the proceedings. We could still have an exciting last half an hour or so, but delay of over 90 minutes to the scheduled kick-off time because of the heavy rain. Yellow card here for Valdez. And then the floodlight failure at the start of the second half. Players have not got themselves fully tuned up here. It's not the greatest playing surface, of course, carrying so much water, not making it conducive to good flowing attacking football, which both teams are eminently capable of. They've shown that thus far. But we might still have some considerable drama to come. 10-man Ecuador, remember. Centre-back Achille sent off in the first half. Straight red card for bringing down Teo Gutierrez. Antonio Valencia. Enner Valencia. Paredes. Pass out of the reach of Juan Paredes. He's trying his best to get forward and put pressure on this man Almero. James Rodriguez. Lovely pass into space here for Cuadrado, who's really quick. Forces the save out of Banguera. And once he's in full stride, hard to stop Juan Cuadrado. Lovely pass from Rodriguez. Banguera forced to concede the corner. Rodriguez to take. Back out with James Rodriguez. Falcao! Banguera down to make a smart save. Had to react really quickly there, the Ecuador goalkeeper. Torres. Colombia beginning to slip into this ominous groove of slick attacking football. James Rodriguez. And that's routine for Banguera this time. But earlier, he made a very good save from the Falcao header. Now taken on here. Now he's going to look for a penalty here, isn't he? Antonio Valencia, it's given to penalty to Ecuador. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Carlos Sanchez seemed to be all over Antonio Valencia. Now what Ecuador are asking for here is parity in terms of the colour of the card. It's yellow for Carlos Sanchez, and Ecuador are saying, what is the difference between Antonio Valencia running in onto that Colombia goal? The only difference I see is that it's wide of the goal and not central to it. And that was the situation involving the first half red card for Achille, although that was considerably further from the goal than this incident. Well, that's a foul. He clearly catches Antonio Valencia. Not so obvious from that angle, but from this, just looked as though he brushed his right leg. I don't think either the referee or the assistant on this near side would have had the best view, but they favoured Ecuador. And Walter Ayobi to test a clearly still shaken Colombia goalkeeper, David Ospina. Ayobi with a chance to level this crucial World Cup qualifier at 1-1 in Barranquilla. Can he hold his nerve? Oh yes, he's missed. Well, I thought the net was going to bulge, and I'm sure so did most of this stadium. The goalkeeper had guessed the wrong way, and Ayobi put it wide of the post. And wider than the first angle suggested. It was a horrible miss. Huge let-off for the Colombians. Confirmation of the yellow card for Carlos Sanchez. James Rodriguez, Falcao, Cuadrado, skips past the challenge. Cuadrado's cross and a goal. Oh no, off the post. How did that stay out? Well, that was extraordinary. Colombia escaped with an Ayobi penalty miss at one end, and from Cuadrado's cross, Gutierrez has to score, doesn't he? But somehow he doesn't. Off his left thigh, onto the post and away. Extraordinary. Montero. Carried out of things by McNelly Torres. Cuadrado, Rodriguez, Gutierrez, Noboa, looking for Antonio Valencia, who's playing much higher up the pitch now, the Manchester United player. There he goes, tumbling under the challenge of Torres. Free kick, Ecuador. And full credit to the Ecuadorians, having a real go here with 10 men. Should be level through Ayobi's penalty. He was wasteful. Just about within range to strike a goal here for Enner Valencia, who's one of the options. Ayobi's the other. And it is Enna Valencia. It's disappointing. Well, the clock says 65 minutes, but a delay of nearly 5 minutes for the injury to the Colombia goalkeeper, Ospina. James Rodriguez, almost the perfect pass there. Sanchez, Armero, Cuadrado, Torres, crowd getting a little anxious. They want McNally Torres to go forward rather than sideways. Cuadrado, Torres again. Well left in the end by Banguera. Antonio Valencia for Segunda Castillo. Noboa looking for Montero. Well policed by Zuniga. Referee urging Zuniga to get on with this throw-in. Ball still travelling remarkably well considering the amount of rain that the pitch has taken. Rain hammering down again. Rodriguez. Torres. Been a little disappointing today, McNally Torres. His passing is normally very accurate. Several times he's lost possession in good positions. Montero. Castillo. Enna Valencia. Paredes losing out to... well, the referee's given a free kick against Armero. Looks rather puzzled at that decision. Enna Valencia is going to be sacrificed here by the coach Rueda. Time for some fresh legs on the bench. And on comes Joao Rojas. Forward, Rojas immediately takes up his position to see if he can turn the tide in 10-man Ecuador's favour. Ayobi with a free kick, too long. Cuadrado has brought some dash and energy to that right flank for Colombia. Castillo. Noboa. It's a good pass. Just cut out by... offside anyway. Ecuador. Valencia. Wanted the pass earlier. think it's fair to say that both these nations would be welcome at the World Cup in Brazil next year. And even if Ecuador were to lose here in Barranquilla today, they would still have their destiny in their own hands in the matches to come, because after going to Bolivia and La Paz on Tuesday, they've got Uruguay at home and Chile away, two of their rivals for a top 4 place. Well won here by Iobi. Paredes. Rojas. Corner, Ecuador. Rojas will take it. Valencia. No free kick. There's a break on here for Colombia, led by Falcao. Now Rodriguez. Falcao. James Rodriguez again. Torres. Zuniga. That's Cuadrado available. Torres. Almero. Breezes past Paredes. Driven in dangerously. Very well defended by Erazo at the far post. Almost facing his own goal here, Frickson Erazo. Wicked ball in from Almero. And the defender did well. Any wrong touch there, that could have been disastrous for Ecuador. James Rodriguez with the Colombia corner. Goalkeeper comes, doesn't get there. And Falcao thought he'd scored. He was away celebrating. Just took a deflection after he won the header here. Maybe off defender, perhaps off the goalkeeper who was committed. And a little bit of no man's land there, Banguera, and it came off Banguera, and he got very fortunate there. It could so easily have buried itself into the roof of the Ecuador net, and that surely would have been game over. Rodriguez with the latest Colombian corner. Montero. Rodriguez. Cuadrado. Trying to make room for the shot and then beat himself. Valencia. Another strong run from the Manchester United player. Stopped in his tracks unceremoniously. Challenge from Almero. It's on the very edge of being too far out to strike straight a goal. They might just take it on here, Ecuador. Iobi poised, not too much of a run-up, which suggests that he might just be looking to drift this into the penalty area. Plays it short instead to Paredes. Now it's in there, and that's catching practice for Ospina. Disappointing ball that from Juan Paredes. A yellow card for Rojas for too close attention on the goalkeeper Ospina. It's been a wonderful campaign in qualifying, particularly for Colombia, when you consider they haven't finished higher than 6th in their last 3 attempts to make the World Cup finals. Said at the outset, this is most certainly the best generation since Rincon and Valderrama, and fine players of 1998. They reached 3 successive World Cups in the 90s. Colombia. Gutierrez. Zuniga. Very much in the stage of the game where the legs will really be feeling this energy sapping pitch in Barranquilla. Nice touch from Cuadrado. James Rodriguez. Armero. Cuadrado, Zuniga. It's a little over elaborate there, Colombia, but they held it back quickly enough. Rojas. Good work there under pressure from Valdez. Good movement here from Rodriguez. Gutierrez has his shot blocked. Last-ditch defending there from Ecuador. Noboa. There's Ibarra, who's dropped in off the substitutes bench into the Ecuador midfield, almost unseen. Paredes. Zuniga having quite a tussle there with Iobi, coming up the victor. Sanchez. Armero. Gutierrez. And some patient possession football here. The crowd have been anxious on a few occasions. They'd like to see Colombia really go at the opposition and attack in their normal swashbuckling style, but they're playing the conditions here, they're playing the occasion, they're leading. But only because Walter Ayobi on the ball here has missed a penalty during the second half for Ecuador. Just confirmed that Ecuador change. Montero off, Ibarra on. Cuadrado. Falcao! Well, that would have been a spectacular goal. He's very capable of meeting that flush on the volley. It just got away with him. Away from him, I should say. Off the outside of his boot. Superb movement as usual from Falcao. Off goes Gutierrez, and he is going to be replaced by another fine Colombia striker, Jackson Martinez of Porto. Martinez, the new man, has a goal-scoring record of nearly one every 2 internationals, and frequent goal scorer for his club in Portugal. Sanchez. Armero. Just put too much on that pass, Pablo Armero. And the clock says 7 minutes left of the 90, but in reality there's something like 12 minutes of normal time to go. Cuadrado shipping in another dangerous cross, not too far away from Martinez. James Rodriguez. Faced by Paredes. Armero. And caught just outside the penalty area. Where's the referee? What is he given here? Is he going to book Armero for diving? I think he is. That's exactly what he's doing. No complaints either, so we can only suggest that he took one off the high board here, and he most certainly did, Pablo Armero. Not high enough to make a splash, surprisingly. But rightly yellow carded. Antonio Valencia owning a corner out of Valdez. And still harbour some hope here. Ecuador, if they could go back home with a point from Barranquilla, that would be, well, it would feel like a win, having lost a player to a straight red card in the first half. Here's Rojas offside. It was a pity from Ecuador's point of view. That would have been an excellent crossing position for Rojas. Correct decision from the assistant on this near side. Colombia edging closer to a huge 3 points. Iovi. Paredes. Good challenge by Valdez. This is Rodriguez. Cuadrado. Colombia fans beginning to cheer every pass. Colombia's 3 defeats have come away at Venezuela and also in Ecuador. And only home lapse came in a 2-1 defeat here against Argentina. And saying to Ecuador, come and get it off us. Working the extra man really well here. Peckerman's team, Armero, making the pitch as big as they can. And 1 or 2 of these Ecuador players, certainly the ones that have been out from the start, are almost on their last legs. Understandably so. Hard enough playing with 11, never mind 10 on this surface. Ooh, and Guerra very nearly punched them. Falcao shot back into the path of Martinez. But there must have been 25 passes there. Led up to the shot from Falcao. Just might have been a little kick out there by Paredes on Armero. I'd like to see that again. Definitely watch this. There's the challenge. Now watch the little kick out here. Just a little slide kick on Armero. Got away with it. Cuadrado. Martinez. Given away rather sloppily by Jackson Martinez. Rojas. Iovi. Shapes a lovely ball into the path here of Rojas. Pereira for company. And Pereira producing an excellently timed tackle on Rojas. Colombia captain. An outstanding piece of defending there. Castillo. Getting close to finding out how much stoppage time there will be. I wouldn't be surprised if it's as many as 8 minutes. It seemed to me that the stoppage for the injury to Ospina, the Colombia goalkeeper, was all of 5 minutes, and if you factor in the amount of substitutions we've had, it ought to be there or thereabouts 8 extra. Ibarra. Rojas. Valencia. Rojas. Nobody there. Nobody close to being there for Ecuador. Colombia have been far from their fluent best, but understandable given the circumstances. Delayed kick-off of just over an hour and a half. As I said earlier, miraculous that we got a game on at all here in Barranquilla today. With the pitch covered in huge puddles, 2/3 of the playing surface, a couple of hours before we actually got underway here. It's continued to rain for most of the actual playing time. We've had a floodlight failure as well at the start of the second half. And Ecuador, 10-man Ecuador since the first half, still brave, still believing they can get something out of this qualifier. Another punishing game on Tuesday, the Ecuadorians at altitude, although of course they're very much used to that in their base in Quito, but they'll be in La Paz to play Bolivia. Colombia go to Uruguay. Castillo. But 3 points here for Colombia, and that should be enough to take them to Brazil. Won't guarantee it. I think they could probably go on to lose their last 3 games and still make it on 26 points. In by Noboa. Colombia not over the line yet. Jackson Martinez. Rodriguez. Oh, and taken off the head of Falcao by Erazo. Vital interception from Frickson Erazo for Ecuador. Otherwise, Falcao was scoring. Into the 4th minute of added on time. Still a few minutes to go for Ecuador to find an equaliser. Paredes. Goalkeeper calls for it, but Torreira takes no chances and clears. Erazo. Space now for Antonio Valencia. Good looking pass to Rojas. Throw to Ecuador. Put everything into this Rueda's team. Ibarra. And deflection in the end is kind to Colombia. And he's not releasing this anytime soon, Ospina. Here's the moment when Falcao thought he had a free header. And Razo's vital interception. Paredes incredibly still full of running, as is Rodriguez. Referee from Brazil, Heber Lopez, has given a free kick. And that's it. Just 5 minutes of time added on. And Colombia make it 5 successive home wins in qualification without a single goal conceded. And now these Colombia fans can really dream and pack their bags for Brazil 2014. Colombia surely have done enough now to reach their first World Cup since 1998. A single goal in the first half from James Rodriguez. They needed an Ecuador missed penalty in the second half from Walter Ayobi. But this is a real party in Barranquilla. And this is a city that parties like no other, I can tell you. I have first-hand experience. It'll be a long night in the coastal city. Final score here at the Estadio Metropolitano Roberto Melendez. It's finished. Colombia 1, Ecuador 0.